Welcome back to the shop. Today I have a Nikon 50mm f1.8 Series E lens. I got this from eBay. It was about $43 with shipping. This is the black on black version, which was the first version produced sometime between 1979 and 1981. Later there was a silver version with a silver ring right here instead of a black ring, and that was produced from 81 to 85. These lenses are fairly inexpensive and pretty good optically. I looked on Ken Rockwell's website for all the information about this lens, and I figured for $43 it was pretty good. But I'm not going to use this for still photography, although I might. I do have a micro four thirds to Nikon adapter for my micro four thirds camera, but I also have a Nikon adapter for my Sony f3. So I want to use this for film and video work, which means I need to declick the aperture. Aperture declicking is a fairly common practice for video because you don't want hard stops on your aperture, especially if you're doing something where you need to ramp your aperture during a shot so you don't get just sudden jumps. You'll have a more smooth operation of your aperture ring. So let's get into it. This will void your warranty if this has one anymore. And this is, unfortunately on this lens, is not easily reversible. I'll show you why in a second. So first thing you should do is you should set your aperture all the way closed, because there's a spring in here. This is the camera control of the aperture, and it will spring back if you don't set it all the way closed. Then you just remove these 3 Phillips screws. Once you remove those screws, this entire flange assembly just lifts right off. If you were to leave your aperture wide open, this is the part that would cause some spring tension issues. Next step is super easy. The aperture control ring just lifts right off. There's no other screws. The back flange holds this in position. That is what causes the clicks in your aperture. It's a little piece of metal, a little piece of spring steel or something that rides along in these grooves. You can see this one's fairly well used. There is all the paint's been worn off here. It's quite dirty, in fact, also. This is just this is attached with it looks like two plastic posts that have been melted. So these plastic posts go through this hole and then they're just melted. This entire ring is plastic. This is the only metal piece on here. And in fact, that's attached in the same way, just two plastic posts that have been melted to keep it on. So not easily reversible. It's not just screws you unscrew like some other lenses. Although I assume you would be able to take cyanoacrylate, super glue, and just glue this little piece of spring steel back on if you wanted to. So I'm going to grab my tiny little cutters and just cut these posts free. There. And there. Just cut that plastic away. A little bit more. And then this should snap off just like that. So that's it. Now because there's no more, there's a lot less friction here. One trick is to take some Teflon tape, typically used for sealing pipe threads. Add that to one of the bearing surfaces. There's really 3 bearing surfaces here on this lens. So I'm just going to take one wrap of this around this bearing surface. A little difficult to work with sometimes. There you have a clickless dampened aperture, ready for use. Here's some test footage using the 50mm f1.8 on a Sony f3. It's mounted with a MTF Services Nikon to FZ adapter. And there you have it. That's how you convert a Nikon Series E 50mm f1.8 lens to have a clickless aperture for video work. See you next time. Bye.